Good morning everybody, welcome to Vlogtober day 22. I'm in a different location today, as you can see, because I'm dog sitting this little baby. He's very interested in the tripod. So yeah, I thought I would film a cozy vibe video today, and the purpose is to tell you my coming out story. I'm also not going to be doing anything in this video. I always feel like I have to do my makeup or get ready with me or something. I'm just going to talk to the camera, and that's okay. So the reason I want to make this video is because when I was younger and I was kind of struggling with my identity and like feelings and everything, I watched a few of these videos and it really helped reassure me that what I was feeling was okay. Because growing up, no one around me was part of the LGBT community. I didn't know any gay people whatsoever. And so I didn't have those role models, and I don't think I even knew what gay meant until I was in secondary school. Then being gay myself caused a lot of internal kind of conflict, and it was a really difficult time, and videos like this really helped me. So I thought I would make my own to hopefully help someone else. So let's start from the beginning. Signs I was gay. Obviously at the time I didn't realise it was signs, but now looking back I was like, oh, evidently signs. I think the first one would be my obsession with every female middle-aged celebrity. Like I remember when I was like 4 or 5 being obsessed with Hannah Spirit from S Club 7 and Rachel Stevens from S Club 7, and then Kylie and Danny Minogue, and then like any middle-aged character, any middle-aged woman character from a TV show I was watching, like Jodie Whittaker from Doctor Who, Sarah Ramirez, Grey's Anatomy, Ellen Pompeo, Grey's Anatomy, Jessica Capshaw, Grey's Anatomy, and then like Once Upon a Time, Lana Faria, Jennifer Morrison, and then movies like Jennifer Aniston, like any kind of female character in whatever movie, I would be like obsessed with them for a couple of weeks after, like googling them, like everything about them. And so that is definitely a sign that at the time I was like, oh, I just want to be like them, oh, I just really look up to them, oh, they're just really cool. Girl. So that was definitely a big indicator, and I'm surprised no one else picked up on that. When everyone else had posters of like One Direction in their bedrooms, I had Kylie Minogue on the wall. Another thing kind of related to that was I was always really awkward around middle-aged female teachers, specifically like younger ones. Never had a crush on any of them. I never like crushed on any of my teachers. I never had a crush on anyone in real life, like none of my peers, none of my teachers, like nothing like that. But I was always really awkward around them, and I was like, I can't even explain it. I was just a little bit like uncomfortable, and I think it was like this internal kind of gay panic, like, oh my gosh, they're so close to me and they're pretty. And also I remember when I was like 14, 15, somewhere around that age, I would literally be in bed at night praying I wasn't gay. Like I would be speaking to God, asking him that I did not grow up gay. Like if you're straight, you don't do that. Like that's not something a straight person goes to bed thinking every night. Like, so obviously I had those feelings and I somewhat knew. I just didn't know how to express it back then. And also I never had an interest in boys, ever. Like, you know, when you talk about your crushes at school, I would literally choose a random boy that other girls said they liked. And I was like, oh yeah, he's really cute, I really like him. No, I didn't. I had no interest whatsoever. But I also had no interest in the girls whatsoever. So it was very weird. I just thought that I didn't like people like that. I thought like I was asexual for a point. I went through the whole I'm asexual phase before I went to the oh, maybe I'm gay phase. Because I just did not have any feelings for anyone. Except for middle-aged women in TV shows. So yeah, there were definitely a lot of signs for me that, looking back, were obvious, but obviously at the time when that thought of I'm gay is just not even in the realm of possibilities, it's not even something that you will dare admit to yourself, you don't see it. I think deep down I knew, but like I said, it was so terrifying, the concept, that there isn't any possible way that I would have allowed myself to act on those feelings back then. Look at me now. Okay, so when I actually admitted to myself that I was gay, I was probably around 21. I think when I first started being like, okay, maybe this is okay, maybe I am gay and I should act on it and see what happens. I was 21, and it was after watching Grey's Anatomy. Grey's Anatomy was my gay awakening, because I saw gay representation in that show from Callie and Arizona's relationship. And when I was watching them, I was like, I want that. That's what I want. I feel like this is okay and that's what I want. And so I watched that show in second year uni, And like that was kind of the development of, okay, I think I have these feelings, let's see what happens. And then it wasn't until a year later that I actually downloaded Tinder and chose both boys and girls, because when I first came out, as per a lot of lesbians, I was bi because I was too scared to come out as gay because that just seems so wrong. So I came out as bi, downloaded Tinder, boys and girls, was talking to a few girls, whatever, and then maybe a month later I came out to my two of my best friends at the time, and I was like, hey, I'm bi, and they were like, wow, that's great, amazing. And that was that. And then I continued talking to girls on Tinder. I went on like a couple dates, none of them I felt anything for. I was like, I'm not really getting the vibe here, until I was speaking to this one girl who turned out to be my first girlfriend, and I was like, okay, this feels a little bit different. And this was the point where I was like, I'm gonna have to tell my parents. So the day before I went on my first date with this girl, I was sat with my mum in the living room because my dad was on a work trip, and there just so happens to be a power cut. It was like the universe was giving me my moment. There was no power, no TV, no lights, nothing, no internet. So we were just sat there like kind of talking, and I think she could tell something was up, and I could tell something was up because inside my heart was like this. I'm like, I just need to say it somehow. So I was like, I've got a date tomorrow. She was like, oh, okay, who's that with? And I was like, it's with a girl. She was like, oh, okay. And then she says, I will never forget this line. She was like, I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised. And I'm like, what? What does that mean? And she was like, I'm shocked, but like, it doesn't surprise me because you've never had an interest in boys. You've had one boyfriend that you didn't seem to like at all. Bless him. I did like him as a friend, but not as a boyfriend. That was, anyway, other story. Like, I'm just not really surprised by it. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, well, that's fair, decent reaction. And then she obviously did all that, oh, we'll love you, whatever, like, we just want you to be happy, all of that stuff, which was lovely. And I'm so incredibly grateful for that reaction because I know so many people don't get it. And it makes me really sad that it's make or break for some families, and it should not be like that, especially in this day and age. So I came out to my mum, and then she was quite worried about how my dad would take it. So she came out to my dad for me. She left it a few weeks, I think probably to get her own head around it. Because even though she's supportive, it's still a big thing to get your head around. Like when I think about how long it took me myself to understand it, you have to give the people you're telling a little bit of time. So she then came out to my dad, and he was amazing. Like, he was really supportive, he was great about it, and he sent me a really, really nice text message that I still get emotional about these days when I read it. And it all worked out great. And I think the relief for me from all of the build up and all of the tension and that, just the, you never know how someone's going to react. You never know like how people are going to react to that situation. And I think that just the relief was so, and I don't just mean the relief from telling them, I mean the relief from like my whole life building up of just not being comfortable with who I am and not quite knowing who I am and not being myself, that in that moment just like deflated. It was like, okay, this is who I am. Everyone who's important to me knows. Everyone who is important to me is supportive, and that's all I need. And like, oh, I feel like actually like a little bit emotional talking about it. But like, that's all I needed. And I think I'm so grateful that I got that. So yeah, that's how I came out to my parents. And then I had my first girlfriend that lasted like 6 months. It was a learning curve, to say the least. And then I met my girlfriend now, and we've been together just over 2 years, and I'm so happy and everything is great. And I'm just so glad that I had the courage to come out when I did and accept myself, and I'm just so excited for the future. The one thing I would say about coming out, and the part that really drains you, is that you always have to do it. Every single new person you meet, you have to come out to. And I really hope that we get to a point in our lives when that's not needed. Because you, like, the not knowing how someone's going to react every time you meet them is scary. You know, you can kind of get a vibe from someone. If someone is giving off the vibes of anti-gay, I'm not going to put myself in that situation, which is why I am trying to navigate more towards people in the community to be friends with, because I know that they're going to support me because they're also in it. It's like I've still not come out at work. I started my job. So I came out to my parents in the September, October, and I started my job the beginning of November. and I was not ready at that point. I did not accept myself fully at that point, and I was terrified to come out, so I didn't. And now I've been at this job for almost 5 years and I've still not come out, which is a little bit awkward now because I feel like it's too late. Like I always say, oh, I'm going to my friend's house, oh, I'm moving in with my friend, oh, I'm dog sitting for my friend's parents. I'm talking about my girlfriend, but I always say friend. And so if I'm now like, oh yeah, my partner, they're gonna be like, what? And then they're gonna assume it's a man, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's a woman. And then it's the faces of like, oh, trying to act normal, but at the same time being like, oh, that is what I cannot handle. I don't care if they know, like I'd rather they know and it just be a thing and I can just talk about stuff freely. But it's just that initial conversation that's just so difficult. So it never gets easier. Coming out, you get used to what you say. Usually when I meet people nowadays, I just drop my girlfriend into conversation and that's it. If they react negatively, they're not for me. But the conversation of coming out never gets easier. It's never something that you get used to. You just get used to what you say. It's like the speech comes naturally, the reaction and preempting the reaction is not something that gets easier, unfortunately. Hopefully, like I said, one day the need for that conversation will be no more. So yeah, that is my coming out story. I'm a very happy and proud member of the LGBTQ community, and I go to prides every year, hence the thumbnail. The thumbnail is a little bit catfishy compared to how I'm looking now, but that's okay. I'm praying for you and manifesting that you get just a supportive, loving reaction, because that's all anyone ever wants. And my heart breaks for LGBTQ members in countries that being gay is illegal, because I cannot even fathom. It's actually disgusting. It makes me really, really angry, honestly. Upset, of course, but angry. Like I really hope that everything works out for all of you and we can all be out and happy and proud together. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope it helped someone. And let's go lesbians, let's go lesbians. Okay, that's cringe. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.